If you had really strong, healthy boundaries and you were really good at setting boundaries, you'd probably have very few problems with narcissistic people in your life. So, is it any wonder that long-term personal relationships of any kind with a narcissist can greatly distort and even destroy your ability to set boundaries or to even understand what boundaries are for? I know for me, there are still things about boundaries that I still continue to learn, and there are still things about boundaries that I learned from narcissists that I continue to unlearn. And in today's video, that's what we're going to talk about: the importance of setting boundaries with narcissists and with healthy relationships, how narcissists can distort and destroy our ability to set boundaries, what boundaries are, what they're for, and how we can use this new understanding to avoid narcissistic people disturbing our lives in the future. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. So first, real quick, what are boundaries? The way I view boundaries are a choice that you make for yourself, for your own life, based on what you're comfortable with, what your values are, what your preferences are, maybe even things that you don't have a lot of choice, maybe an allergy that you have. They are ways that you protect yourself and separate yourself from the outside world. And I also see them in a way that you can reserve your right to claim control over your own life. As a secondary use for a boundary, they can also be a way for you to measure how much people in your life respect you and make decisions based on the way people react to your boundaries. Now, what are boundaries not? Boundaries are not arguments or debates. And boundaries are not meant to change the people around you. They are not meant to control other people. They're meant to protect you from people that you need to protect yourself from. And they are meant to communicate with people who are open to communicating with you about what you're comfortable with and what you need and what you want from them. Now, when we're talking about toxic people or narcissists and setting boundaries, I think a really common misconception is that boundaries are supposed to somehow fix the situation or change the relationship in some way that affects the narcissist's behavior. And I made a reel earlier this week where I compared this to thinking that if somebody tells you that a hurricane is coming, and you should board your windows up to protect yourself from the hurricane, it's like expecting the act of boarding up your windows to make the hurricane go away or to make the hurricane less powerful. Boundaries are like the boards on your windows, and the hurricane is like the narcissist. The boards on your windows have no effect on the hurricane at all, but they do protect you. They protect you from things outside of yourself that you can't control or change. Now, I think that when we've had a lot of experience in toxic, abusive relationships, it can be really easy to misunderstand boundaries as something that's always there to protect you from people who want to take advantage of you or don't respect you or don't appreciate you. And boundaries can serve that function, but that's not all that they are for. That's what narcissists teach you that they're for, and it can be really easy to not be able to see how boundaries are actually meant to function in a healthy relationship. So narcissists and other toxic people will condition you to view boundaries as something that you only need if you're protecting yourself from people that are out to harm you or take advantage of you. They will also condition you to feel like when you set a boundary, you're being selfish or mean or abrasive, or you've got a lot of nerve, or just that it takes a lot of courage to set a boundary, because setting a boundary with a narcissist can be very intimidating. They can put you on guilt trips. They can shame you for it. it can be very, very difficult emotionally and physically to set boundaries with narcissists because they see boundaries as a personal attack against them. Narcissists will condition you to feel like when you're about to set a boundary, you're going into battle, so you better be ready for it, and you better pick the hills that you're going to die on, because every boundary that you try to set, you're going to have to really fight for that. But the reality is, in healthy relationships, people just accept your boundaries and they don't take them as personal attacks. In healthy relationships, people actually want to know what your boundaries are. People might actually be annoyed with you if you don't communicate your boundaries. Think about how you would feel if you had a friend that was afraid of the water and couldn't swim, and you loved to go to the beach every weekend. And you invited your friend to the beach every weekend, and they always came along and they always got in the water. And then you found out years later that they actually hated every minute of it. And they really, really sat at home and hoped and prayed that you would change your mind and not go to the beach this weekend. And they never told you how much they hated going and how afraid they were of the water. If this is somebody that you really cared about, you'd probably actually be hurt and upset and annoyed that they never told you that all this time you thought you were having a good time with them. They were just pretending to have a good time, and they didn't trust you enough to express that they weren't comfortable going to the beach and swimming in the water. Now, a narcissist, on the other hand, in this same situation, and I've experienced really similar situations to this, they don't care if you're uncomfortable. They don't care if you're afraid. If a narcissist wants to go to the beach and get in the water, you better go with them, or they're going to feel like you're personally attacking them with your phobias and the things you're uncomfortable with. They do not care how you feel. So they actually prefer that you keep your mouth shut and just go along with them and pretend to like it. When you've spent too much of your life with toxic, narcissistic people that are always trying to take advantage of you and don't have any respect for your boundaries, it can be really easy to fall into this mindset of thinking that if you don't express your boundaries, you're somehow being nice and you're doing other people around you a favor. But really, when you don't trust the people that care about you enough to express your boundaries, in a way, even if it's unintentional, you're kind of insulting them, and you're kind of telling them that you don't trust them with your feelings or your preferences or how you really feel about anything. When you're in a healthy relationship with somebody who cares about you, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, I hope that's clear. This can be a friendship, relatives, even coworkers, it doesn't matter. Any kind of relationship with somebody that respects you. You should be able to say things like, oh, no, thank you, or I'm really tired this weekend. I know we were planning on doing something, but do you mind if we reschedule? Or, honestly, I really hate going to the beach. I hate getting in the water. So if you want to go somewhere else, I'd love to. Otherwise, maybe next time when you're doing something other than going to the beach. And you should be able to say these things to somebody that cares about you without entering into a battle with them, without it starting some kind of war. When you don't fit the narrative or the script that the narcissist has written for you, it is just an insult to them. It's a personal attack. They have absolutely no recognition for your autonomy, and your boundaries are nothing but an inconvenience for them. And this is why trying to assert normal, healthy boundaries with a narcissist just doesn't work. You can't just say to a narcissist, oh, no, thanks, maybe next time. Or, oh, I really don't like going to the beach. Maybe when you're going somewhere else, I'll come with. Or, I'm really tired tonight. Can we reschedule? I mean, if you're in the honeymoon stage with a narcissist, or if you're just a casual acquaintance whose opinion they still care about, they might let you, quote, get away with these things. But anyone who's been in a really close relationship with a narcissist knows that when you're really close with them, you just can't assert these kind of boundaries, which are perfectly reasonable and normal, without starting World War III. And this is because narcissists see you as an extension of themselves, which is completely counter to the idea of what a boundary is for. A boundary is for your autonomy and your individual identity, which doesn't serve the narcissist in any way. The narcissist sees the entire world as a giant glob that revolves around them, that exists just for them. So if they want to go to the beach and they want you to go with them, there is no possible good reason that you should ever say no to them. They don't care if you're scared. They don't care if you hate the water. That's not part of the narrative. You are part of this glob that is rotating around them, revolving around them, and you're supposed to do what they have decided in their head you're going to do. And narcissists actually think that it is your job to make them feel good about themselves, to help them regulate their own emotions at your expense and without your knowledge. It's your job to make them feel better 24/7, and they have extremely fragile egos. So if you're not going along with every little whim that they have, you're not doing your job of making them feel better 24/7. In their mind, there is no other reason for you to exist than for their benefit. So if you're afraid of going to the beach and they want to go to the beach, well, what good are you? And another reason narcissists hate boundaries is because narcissists have extremely fragile egos. And sometimes even healthy, well-meaning boundaries between two people that respect each other can be a little bit abrasive. And a narcissist is so easily butthurt that the tiniest boundary can feel like a huge insult. And to illustrate what I mean, imagine that you are telling a story and you think the story is really funny. You like this story, but you have a friend who says something like, I kind of think that story is pretty offensive. Can you not tell that story? Something like that. I know for me, I would probably feel kind of butthurt and I might get a little defensive. That's just, I think, a natural reaction. But in the real world with grown-ups, it's my job to deal with that emotion on my own. It's my job to process the butthurtness on my own and not get into a big argument about my friend who is being honest about his or her boundaries. And it's my friend's job to explain to me that they don't like the story I told. So these are separate responsibilities, right? But to a narcissist, this butthurtness is completely your fault. You're a bad person for telling them that you don't like their story, and now it's your job to make them feel better about the butthurtness that you just caused. Okay, so how do you assert boundaries with a narcissist? I think this is the million-dollar question. This is something that probably most of you watching have greatly struggled with. I think it bears repeating that in a normal, healthy relationship, asserting and communicating your boundaries is essential. It is your responsibility to do that. And in a healthy, respectful relationship, it's not a battle. It's part of the relationship. You assert a boundary and the other person respects it. And they assert a boundary with you and you respect it. And even if one of you gets a little butthurt, you deal with it and you respect each other's boundaries. But with narcissists, boundaries are not okay. You are conditioned to feel and believe that asserting a boundary makes you a bad person. And I think that as you learn to assert boundaries with narcissists, you have to accept that you cannot change the way they look at this. They are not going to like or agree with your boundaries ever. So let's go back to something I said in the beginning of the video, and that is what boundaries are not. They are not arguments. They are not debates. When you explain your boundary to a narcissist and they push back and they try to explain to you why your boundary is stupid or why they don't want to respect your boundary, that's not something that you need to continue to explain to them. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them any justification. You don't have to defend your boundary to somebody who doesn't respect it simply because it exists. As a quick example, I was in a relationship a long time ago, and I've told this story, I think, several times, but this person I was with called me stupid, and I told him, don't call me stupid. And instead of just saying, oh, okay, sorry, which I think this is like more than a reasonable boundary, right? Instead of just agreeing with my boundary, he proceeded to explain to me that where he came from, everyone just called each other stupid all the time anyway, because he grew up in a different country. And he would call his own mother stupid if she was being stupid. And if I didn't want him to call me stupid, then maybe I shouldn't be doing stupid things. And my point is, I told him to stop calling me stupid. He explained to me why it was okay for him to call me stupid. And instead of just leaving, which I should have done, I should have just actually picked my things up and walked out. And that's what I kind of wish, looking back in hindsight, that's what I wish I would have done. But, I didn't know, I didn't understand all the things that I do now. But if you want to know how to set a boundary in a situation like that, when you assert and explain your boundary and it's not respected, it doesn't matter why. It doesn't need to turn into an argument or a debate. You can pick your things up and just walk out. And that is how to assert a boundary with somebody who doesn't respect them. Now, if you're stuck in the same house with them and you can't physically leave where you are, there are other things that you can do. First and foremost, stop arguing, stop debating. That is such a huge waste of time. They are never going to see things your way. This person I was just talking about, I'm sure to this day thinks it's perfectly fine to run around calling people stupid, and nobody is ever going to tell him different. But that's fine, because I'm somewhere now where he can't call me stupid anymore. But if you're stuck in the same place, you can at least stop engaging and stop treating this person as if their opinion matters, as if their argument with your boundary is relevant. Stop including them in this conversation because they are showing you that they don't respect you. So stop including them in the conversation about your boundaries. They don't respect your boundaries, and so your boundaries are not for them to discuss or talk about or debate with you. This person is not your friend. This is not somebody that you need to sit down and have a discussion with about the things you're comfortable with and not comfortable with, so that they can sit and explain to you why you're wrong. So they can sit and explain to you why you don't have the right to make up your own rules for your own life. So asserting boundaries with somebody like this really has to start from a place of understanding that this person doesn't deserve your respect, not an ounce of your respect if they can't show you any respect. Respect has to go both ways. And arguing with somebody, debating with them over whether or not they should respect you is actually showing them far more respect for their viewpoint than they deserve. Another thing that you really need to do is stop thinking that there is some way to make them respect you, or stop assuming that somewhere deep down they do respect you, because they are clearly showing you how they feel about you. This is a statement. When they refuse to accept and respect your boundaries, this is a statement they are making. This is something they are showing you. This is a fact that you can see with your own eyes. This person has no respect for you, and you cannot make somebody respect you if they don't. And I know it's really hard to just let go of this and accept that somebody who's supposed to love and care about you doesn't even respect you. But when it's right in front of your face, accepting it and seeing it can be extremely freeing, and it can really help you let go of this completely futile, maddening, impossible task of getting through to them and convincing them to treat you with respect. Another thing you can do is to really think about the fact that their opinion of you and their opinion of your boundaries really doesn't matter. And I know this can be really difficult, especially at first, because these people are usually really important to you. At least when this devaluation and this disrespectful behavior starts, this person's opinion does matter to you. But after somebody starts showing you how little respect they have for you and how little they care about the way that you feel about things, their opinion really needs to very quickly become meaningless to you, because when their opinion still matters to you, you're going to waste all of your time and energy trying to change their mind, trying to show them how much they're hurting you, trying to convince them to respect you, and all of that is a waste of time, and it just really doesn't matter. When somebody doesn't have any respect for you as an autonomous individual person, their opinion of you shouldn't hold any weight in the way that you conduct your life and in the way that you make your decisions, unless those decisions are to cut off contact or minimize contact with them. And to be a little more specific about how to set boundaries, just say no, or just say, please don't talk to me like that, or just say, I don't want to hear about that right now, or I told you I can't let you borrow my car. And just don't explain it. Don't back it up. Don't try to change their mind. Don't expect them to like what you're saying. End the conversation. Ignore them. Unless they are right in front of your face and you're in a place that you can't just leave, stop texting them back. Hang up the phone. Don't answer the door. Don't engage with people that don't respect your boundaries. And with narcissists and toxic people that don't respect you, cutting off or minimizing contact really is the only way that you can assert your boundaries. Quick last minute edit here. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people watching this video and thinking, oh, well, great, I guess I am not going to be able to enforce or assert my boundaries because I can't minimize contact. And to an extent, that is true, because it is much harder to assert boundaries if you're constantly getting into battles with them, or if they are constantly trying to start battles with you. But you have a lot more power than you think, and you can always minimize contact at least a little bit. You can have less contact, and every reduction in contact that you make is going to help you assert those boundaries. Every time you stop the conversation, stop talking back, stop throwing the ball back to them, stop engaging. These are ways that you can assert your boundaries by simply stating them and then ending the conversation. And while it is more difficult to do that when you are still in contact, it's not impossible, and it's something that you can continue to practice. Hopefully not forever. Hopefully you're able to minimize contact to a point where this isn't so difficult. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of hope if you're somebody that can't move away or has to live with a narcissist, at least for the time being. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.